Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and start. Welcome everyone to class number 79 of our open discussion and various topics. Hopefully you can hear and see me all right. Okay, great. So let's begin today's class. The prayer for the spiritual workers, and then we'll move into the handouts. Prayer for spiritual workers. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their limitations, would smite me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their weakness, would not heed me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their ignorance, would defile you through me. And I ask, Almighty God, O wondrous power, that your strength may be given to me now, so that I might be fortified by this, so that I might go forward bravely into the world, and despite reception, send forth my love of thee throughout all races of man. Almighty God, give me the power and strength to rise above my karmic weakness, the deficiencies in the pattern of my evolution, so that I might evolve and become stronger, I, and even stronger in thy everlasting light. O God, thy will be done. All right. Welcome, everyone. And a happy Father's Day to, I don't know, I think it's only in the US we have Father's Day today. In other countries, it's different dates and months, but happy Father's Day. As per usual, as we operate our open discussions, you can feel free to ask any questions you may have in the chat if you're joining us on YouTube, or if you're joining us on Zoom, you can use the chat or use the raise hand feature to ask your questions audibly. We will start off the first half of open discussion with a study of the handouts that were in the shared files folder on MeetUp. I've been going through those files and looking at some handouts that we've covered in the past, and maybe review them again. Last time we covered the chakras system. Put that up again just to refresh your memory. Un segundo. So we looked at this set of handouts with the modification of Shakti. We talked about the flow of cosmic energies and tantric rays. Looked at the embodied consciousness of man and discussed some of the realms and their corresponding chakras. The Sushumna Nadic flow, and look at the power of the chakras. And we talked about the different levels of the auric body, the Bindu and the Kundalini energy. Today, I figured we would continue with that discussion with another set of handouts titled The Mystic Knowledge of the Makeup of Man. This is another series of classes we did in the past, and these handouts went along with those classes. It's about 10 pages, which goes in a bit more detail of the information we covered last class as well as their classes prior. So we'll take a look at that. And on the last slide, we will take a look at a brief analysis of the Siddhasana Mudra. And then from there, I think we'll spend maybe a couple of weeks looking at a three-part study of Tantra Yoga and psychic development. It was a PowerPoint presentation. So I'm just make sure you guys can see what I'm looking at. Okay. So this was a lecture series that Nehemiah did in the past. And I may just do part 1 and leave 2 and 3 for a workshop. So this will be like a preview. This should be in the video archive on YouTube. It's Tantra Yoga and Psychic Development. So you can go back and look at those classes. In fact, I would implore you to go back and look at those classes and review them so that in a couple of weeks, when we get to this part 1, you'll be familiar with the discussion that Nehemiah gave on it in the past, and it'll be as we look at it again in this session. So that's what's coming up. I will review this presentation, may convert it into a PDF, make a couple of edits and changes, but it'll be essentially exactly the same as the series Nehemiah did in the past. So do go back and view those videos, take some notes, write down your questions, and then when we get to this, maybe about a week or two, we can have a engaging and thorough discussion. There's a question here. Is Tantra dealing with sexual energy?
No and yes. So there's a lot of myth out there on Tantra Yoga. And one of the myths in the West and the East is the dark side of Tantra Yoga. Tantra Yoga it actually means the looming of the yogas. Is how it's a system that's designed to loom, to bring together, to thread all the yogas together in order to have a forceful push on the rise of Kundalini. That's the real meaning of Tantra Yoga. Now, in the Tantra Yoga system, they give the secret of ojas, which is the essence of which is the essence of what they call the doshas, or the energy, the major Kundalini energy, physical energy in the body, or how the ancient Tantra Yoga call the tishas. And that's why you find athletes that wrestle or box, they refrain from sex, because when you look at the different tissues of the body that the Tantra Yoga talks about, it is those things that hold the body together and strengthen the body. It's the things that makes the body structurally strong. So the ojas in the body that flows from the brain give life substance. It's that life fluid. It's the physical life fluid that keeps those tissues strong. So of course, the people in the dark magic, they when they got a hold of these teachings, they converted Tantra yoga into, or they marketed that part of it instead of marketing the real part of it, which is the looming of the yogas together. So it's not a sexual type yoga. If someone tell you that, run from them quickly, because they have been uh, trained or taught wrong. So I hope that answers your question.
Are there any more questions? If not, let us transition into or back to the handouts and continue our discussion on the makeup of man, mystic knowledge of the makeup of man, which will lead into our study.
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was on the other end. I was hitting the wrong key. My name is Will. Greeting. Brother Nehemiah, greeting. Glad I got the invite. Just want to say hi and thanks for allowing me to attend the Zoom. I do have an experience I would like to share, and I would like to get you guys' thoughts about it. Yesterday was Juneteenth, so I was kind of out and about in the city, and there was just festivals all over the city, and I was at one particular park, and I actually took some advice from you, Brother Nehemiah, about sharing love. So real quick, I was at the park and I noticed a brother kind of like getting close to me unconsciously, not like he was looking at me, walking towards me, but we were both faced towards the performance. But he was kind of getting close to me, and he had like different color hair, and his clothes were just different than everyone else. So I just naturally, just without thinking, I was trying to get away from him. And every time I would like inch away from the brother, he got closer and closer. So I thought about the conversation I had with you, Brother Nehemiah, and I said, you know what, I'm going to try this. I'm going to just, in my mind, project love to the brother. And it wasn't from a standpoint of me trying to just be malicious or get away from him at that point when I thought about it, because it was kind of like the conversation we had just came in my mind, and at that very moment I just started doing it, and I just started to project love to the brother. And shortly after that, he just walked away. And I don't know if that was something connected to what I did, but it kind of stuck with me for the rest of the day. And I told myself I would, jump on here and just share that experience to see what you guys' thoughts are about that, or if that was related, or. So again, I'll yield, but definitely I want to express my appreciation for being with you guys.
All right, thanks for sharing that with us, William. Yeah, that's the that's the effect that when you do unconditional love, because you didn't know him, and you sent the love out unconditionally. Uh, if they had any ill thoughts or against you or whatever that wasn't that you wasn't receptacle to, they would leave or they would change. So it's either, those are the two things. Dr. George King said one time that if there was a true Christian country on earth, that country would need no military. They wouldn't need to spend a massive amount of money arming themselves, because the power of love would protect them. So that's a different that's a different level of consciousness that mankind needs to reach. And a lot of times they would just show you what to do, just like Swami Sivananda said back in, I think it was back in the World War II or the Korean War, one or the other. He said the country that was being invaded by that was being overruled by a communist party, only thing that the countries that was trying to fight against the country becoming communist, only thing they had to do is drop leaflets and food and let them know where the food came from. and the people will overthrow the government. So you wouldn't have to go in there with all this military might. Just drop the food and say this food came from us, and we're democratic or democracy, and this is what you can have with democracy. And the people will overthrow the government. They wouldn't have to, another foreign country wouldn't have to come in there and do anything. It's just when you move to a different level of consciousness, you can see the proper scenarios to cure things without violence. I hope that helped you.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting. One other quick thing. Do you think like someone with a lot of, not saying this is me, but I'm just still thinking about the conversation we had the other day, that someone with an abundance of love attract, because I'm still trying to understand this. I'm way behind the ears, but this is just, my own, what's rolling around in my head. Someone with an abundance of love, or just, I don't want to label it, maybe I shouldn't label it love, but just a certain type of energy will attract an opposite energy or what have you, until that person, disperse that energy to that other being or person coming to them to kind of dispel it away. Or am I making sense any kind of way? Or
but the way love energy is a preservational type energy, and it's an energy that can come directly from the absolute through almost anything, which is one of the rare energies of earth. Love energies carry you through cycles of experience, whether that cycle is 1 second or 1 billion years. That's the power of love energy. So when I say cycles of experience, like your whole life, this whole life expression called William Wade is a love energy, is carrying you from day one to the last day, when you enter into and when you exit this life and enter into your next life. So that's the power of love energy. Now, the love energy also, if love energy is correctly used, when you send love energy out to a person or to a thing, what it does, it will never fail. In other words, it will continue to go to that object or person until they accept it, or they have to change due to their own resistance. Because what the love energy would do, it will bounce off of them, multiply by 4, and continue to go to them until they either abandon their concept by changing their motives, or the love energy will break down their barrier and change them, and make the change necessary. You know, so that's the power of love energy. And because love energy always have a forward movement. In the ancient teachings, they told us that we live by the grace of the gods or the masters. And then they also said that the power of love energy never fails. You know, or the power or the love of God never fails. And that's what they mean by that. The love of God never fails, because love energy comes directly from God, the absolute. And the resort of it is a forward, positive movement. And it will not stop until that change is made. That's why when it comes time for a change, then absolutely nothing can stop that change. It doesn't matter how dim it may look, the change is coming. So that's the power of love energy.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay, is William, I'm gonna put you back on mute.
Okay.
I don't know if you have the raise hand feature with the phone, but there should be a way to indicate when you want to ask a question, and I'll go ahead and unmute you.
I called in. I know it was like #6 or *6. That's what I heard.
Okay, so if you just hit that when you want to ask a question, I'll unmute you, or you can unmute yourself, and we'll go ahead and open the floor for your ask your question.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? So a couple more people have joined us. Welcome. Let me go ahead and move into this first page. The mystic knowledge on the makeup of man. The mystic constitution of man, a metaphysical insight on the internal nature and structure of man. So we'll start with the text on the right, and then we'll move to the illustration on the left. Number 1, spirit. Spirit is the divine spark of God within man. The endless potential of the power for the soul of man. It is unmanifested as spirit, yet manifested through the soul as expressed power. 2, soul.
Your voice is skipping. Your voice is skipping. I don't know if everybody else is experiencing that.
And I'm going in and out for you, or is it? Am I going in and out as one, or is this on the right?
It's fine on my end.
Soul, the manifested power of the spirit, the expressed intelligence of the higher self that's above consciousness. It becomes the main vehicle of expression for the spirit to manifest its directives of involution to evolution. All right, number 3, Kundalini, a vehicle of consciousness for the soul. Kundalini is a configuration of Shakti power molded by the soul in order to express a portion of the soul's intelligence through a field of limited consciousness. 4, the nadis, a matrix of traveling thin 1-inch lines of subtle energy particles, creating thousands of geometrical configurations, producing 108 intersections that operates as points of consciousness. There are 3 types of nadis. First, we have the Sushumna Nadi, which is a flow of negative and positive prana moving in one or in a single direction. Then you have the Ida Nadi, which is a negative flow of prana. And then you have the Pingala Nadi, which is a positive flow of prana. The nadis are not depicted in the diagram on the left, but you do see Sushumna, which is that central channel moving up through the 7 centers, interconnecting all the centers. And then Ida and Pingala intertwine, moving up that Sushumna line and crisscross intersecting through each center. The chakras. This is a series of vortex centers used by the soul because it's aligned with the flow of pranas radiating from the cosmos through the sun, earth, and moon. The soul pushes the nadis through these vortex centers of chakra, bodhisattvas or chakras, creating the nadi knots that's configured to operate as segments of consciousness. The lower major chakras process a base aspect of mind, substance, and frequencies of prana through its network of nadi consciousness. It's referring to the Muladhara, the base, Svadhisthana, the sex, and the Manipura, the solar plexus. The upper major chakras process the higher aspects of mind, substance, and frequencies of prana that radiates from the network of nadic consciousness. And the upper centers being the heart, Anahata chakra, the Vishuddha chakra, the throat, and the Ajna chakra, the Christ chakra. The auric bodies, number 6. Auric bodies are a series of magnetic fields of higher frequencies of energies configured to hold the soul's intelligence throughout countless incarnations. These auric bodies are the manifested energy patterns produced by the soul, configuring the original flow of Shakti consciousness into Kundalini. The nadis and the nadi knot configurations to produce the vehicles of consciousness and the soul, and the source of power for the vehicles of expressed consciousness. Number 7, the mental bodies. This part of the soul's vehicle of expression consists of the supra-conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the conscious mind. These are the 3 major divisions of man's mind that operate as mental vehicles of expression for the consciousness. And number 8, etheric bodies. Let me scroll up a bit. The etheric bodies are the subtle vehicles that the higher consciousness of man operates from. It is made from the mental and energy configuration of the upper chakras from the heart chakra upwards. meaning the heart, throat, and Christ chakras. Although the etheric body in a projected state can move through the entire realms below its level of operation and the realms above as karma permits. And so what he's referring to there is you can project. Usually when we talk about projection, we talk about astral projection, but it is possible to project through the etheric bodies. And even though you're projecting through an etheric body, you can visit all the realms of Earth in etheric body um, as karma permits. So you can visit the higher realms and the lower realms as karma permits. I Nehemiah did some classes in the past discussing different types of projection. And I think he gave 1 or 2 techniques for a positive yogic projection. You can look back in our previous videos for that. Number 9, subtle flow of pranas. These pranas are the 5 major pranas that are radiated from or through the sun and are conditioned by the earth, moon, and planets of the solar system. They are also conditioned by the auric fields of man, which produce or express the 5 minor pranas that assist him in his gross astral existence and gross physical existence and expression. So usually when we talk about, or when Nehemiah teaches about the pranas, he emphasizes the major pranic flows, but he's also discussed the minor. So there's 10 pranic flows, so 5 major and the 5 minor. In previous classes, we've discussed that as well. Number 10, the astral bodies. The energy configuration of this vehicle of expression is the result of man's fall of consciousness. The astral bodies are made up from the mental and energy configuration of the lower chakras from the solar plexus chakra and downward, meaning the Manipura solar plexus, the Svadhisthana sex chakra, and the Muladhara, the base chakra. The makeup of the astral body is the result of distorted energy patterns of man that keep mankind locked into a passionate state of mind and a series of subtle desire bodies that resonates all the passion traits. The astral body is the subtle counterpart for the gross physical body. Okay. So in that first sentence there, energy configuration of this vehicle of expression as a result of the fall of man's consciousness, or the man's fall of consciousness. So remember previous classes, a question was asked about the fall of man. That's Nehemiah explained, that's what they're referring to in some religious text. Also too, I think it was in the, was it Madame Blavatsky who talked about the fall of Satan? Was that Nehemiah? I don't remember correctly.
Yeah, it wasn't only Madame Blavatsky. It was even the Hindu books, or the Vedas talked about the fall too. So, and the secret Upanishads actually from Rama Prese, and from other secret Upanishads, they go into it and talk about how the Adamic man had to, the original Adamic man had to leave Earth, and the Adamic man going forward, which was the Meldic man, actually lived on the lower astral realms for many years, because there was no lower astral realms.
Mhm.
on the original Adamic man. There was no low-astral realms, and low-astral realms came about from the introduction of the Meldic man, and a whole level of realms and consciousness had to be created in order to house. And then the earth itself went through a metamorphosis where certain magnetic quality and certain nutrition and certain elements of the earth move closer to the center of the earth and from the surface of the earth. And then it allowed the earth to morph into what we are living right now. And it created layers and layers and layers and layers of crust and dirt onto the earth too, which brought forth a different vegetation of the earth. And also it even changed the water. The water was a psychic water. It's still psychic water, but it was more magnetic and more psychic before 18,600,000 some years ago. But they go into this in depth in the Theosophical Society and with the Vedas and with Madame Blavatsky's teachings and Alice Bailey teachings.
Let me see if I can find it really quickly, because I wanted to go into a bit more of the passionate traits. In a previous open discussion, we looked at a handout where Nehemiah listed several of those traits and also showed or represented how they cloud up or clog up the aura and inhibit a pure flow of energy through the nadis and from the chakra centers, and also gave us techniques on how to burn up those impurities, specifically through practice of prayer and mantra. I'm trying to see if I can find that really quick. Give me a second. If I can't find it quickly, then I'll just keep going.
Which one you talking about?
There was one where you had
impurity traits, John?
Yes, you had an illustration of the aura, and then you had several layers of the aura, and then you had the impurity traits as these little orbs in the aura, and with these squiggly lines in it.
Okay. Look on the karma.
Karmic frame. Okay. Yes, there it is. Okay, thank you. All right, so let me resume share. This is one of them. Okay. I'm specifically looking at this one. This is what I was thinking about. Okay. So this is the handout titled Karmic Framework of Creation. This will be in the Google Drive folder under 2020, because we covered this last year. There should be two folders in there, 2020 and 2021. This was covered last year, so 2020. But this is what I wanted to look at. So some of those passion traits or negative traits, or is reflected here as negative samskaras, they cloud and contaminate the auric bodies and limit sensory perception and spiritual development. And so let's look at it really quickly. So some of those negative traits, attachment, anger, malice, greed, jealousy, envy, pride, desire, passion, lust, delusion, etc. And I wanted to draw your attention to the representation of the two auras. At the negative samskaras, you see, has all these distortions in the aura. And that's what all these layers represent. And they inhibit proper spiritual development and sensory perception. Now, whereas on the right-hand side, we have the positive samskaras, which clears the auric field and enhances sensory perception and spiritual development. And some of those traits are detachment, unselfishness, unselfish love, or unconditional love, kindness, devotion, prayer, mantra, yoga, mudra, positive visualization, unconditional sacrifice, acts that kill desire, acts that kill passion, acts that kill lust, service without expecting any type of return, right? These types of actions or mindsets or traits create positive samskaras, burn up the negative samskaras, and clears the auric fields to allow for proper operation of the sensory vehicles and spiritual development. So let's read this last year quote here by the Lord Krishna in the Gita. Even if thou art the most sinful of all sinners, yet shalt thou cross over all sins by the raft of wisdom. As the burning fire reduces fuel to ashes, O Arjuna, so doth the fire of wisdom reduce all actions to ashes. Verily, there is no purifier in this world like wisdom. He that is perfect in yoga finds it in the self in due season. So I just wanted to put that up really quick to help emphasize that point. So let's return to mystic makeup of man. And we'll look at number 11, the physical body. This body is also the result of the fall of man's consciousness. The physical realm that we now exist within has become the middle passage for the human race. The physical body is the gross aspect of all the above vehicles of consciousness and the vehicles of expression. Being that the physical realm is the gross aspect of all the above realms, of all the above aspects, it has the greatest amount of concentrated karmic pressures in active manifestation. Therefore, it is the best realm and the best body to actually burn up negative karma and also create positive karma under these conditions. In other words, while in the gross physical incarnation, you can advance several lifetimes in a single life because of these concentrated karmic pressures wrapped around and in the physical body. Okay. So there's a lot there in that one paragraph. So this answers the question that's been asked many times: why do we have to return in the cycle of samsara, of physical reincarnations upon this plane? This is an example of, I'm sorry, this is a reason for that listed here in this paragraph. And if lived properly, one can advance several lifetimes within the span of a single incarnation. Welcome, Brittany, and thank you for your comment. All right, so let's take a look at the illustration on the left-hand side, also paying attention to the, I don't know how well this translates by the stream, but if you can see, there are two gray areas, and we'll keep in mind what we just read in the text, and it'll help you to better understand and visualize the content. So we have the 7 centers, starting with the crown chakra, and then each center respective of the Sahasrara chakra, the Christ, throat, heart, solar plexus, sex, and base of the spine. We have layers of the aura, and then we have these 2 gray areas. The lighter gray area represents the positive auric energies made up from the radiated vital and mental energy configuration from the from the 3 upper major chakras. All right. So from the heart, throat, and Christ, we have this lighter gray area, which represents the positive auric energies. Then we have the lower 3 centers and the darker gray area, which represents the negative auric distortion as a result of the lower vital and mental energy configuration of energies from the 3 lower major chakras. So I'm going to hop back to this karmic framework handout. And in this part, was it here? I think it was a couple states of mind, sattvic, rajas, and tamasic. Was it in this one or was it another one? I think it was another one. It was in the handout where Nehemiah talks about the 3 types of energies, sattvic, tamastic, and rajastic, and their qualities. Sattvic being of the highest quality. I think tamas is the middle, right? And then rajastic is the lowest quality of mind or energy?
No, the tamas is the lowest.
Tamas is low, sorry.
Rajas is the middle.
It's middle, okay, thank you.
Sattvic is a pure state of mind. Remember, it's a condition of mind that molds and shapes the energy and matter.
Mm-hmm. Let's just move on to the next page. Sorry. This is Tantra Sastra, knowledge or bodiless conscious. Shiva is a pure unmanifested consciousness, a spirit, a divine spark of God. That's this golden oval at the top, representing the Shiva. From that, we have the word, Vak, nada, the first spoken word released from the spirit, Shiva. Then comes the soul, or manifested consciousness, or the vehicle of expression for the spirit. Then we have here again the nada, creating the framework. And it becomes the soul's Shakti is pushed down, Shumna, the Brahmic line of force. We have here the 3 Mahabindus, the earth, the sun, and the moon, which condition the energies, cosmic energies. And on the right side here, we have the karmic principles of Shakti power. Here within that is dotted line, this framework. which and the principles being mind, prana, dhyana, and love. The Mahabhutas, the modes of motion that produces the cosmic signatures of manifestation, which are Akasa, Vayu, Tejas, Apas, and Prithivis. And also here we have the 5 major pranas, Apana, Dhyana, Samana, Prana Anudana, and the 360 tattvic rays, which emanates from the sun, and then the respective associations of the tattvic rays with each of the realm. And then through that Sushumnik Brahmic line of force, we have the Christ chakra, throat, heart, solar plexus, sex, and base of spine chakra. And then finally, once it reaches the base of the spine, it goes into a dormant 3.5 knot configuration dormant state. And as expressed Kundalini, the soul's vehicle of consciousness, a split of Shakti power. And then we have the Ida, the negative or mental flow of energies, and Pingala, the positive or vital flow of energies. And just check to see if we have any questions. Okay. Okay, no questions, so I will continue on. The 3 Mahabindus flow of power. The Mahabhutas are cosmic modes of vibrational motion that is a result of the Vak, or the first spoken word of God. This divine sonic vibration created from a form of nada, of Vak, brings about the great Mahabhutas, which are the signature vibrations of manifested life. This becomes the agents of the universal mind substance and the all-pervasive vital life force, pranas. These Mahabhutas radiate towards the mighty sun and are radiated from the sun as modified Mahabhutas, along with the tattvic rays and the 5 major pranas. This is all radiated from the release of the sun's nada wave of consciousness, a great creative sound vibration, AUM, that's constantly repeated by the mighty sun every 32 minutes, pushing out the modified bhutas, pranas, universal mind with the huge wave of tattvic rays that weave a blanket of tattvic matter which formulates the realms of existence with the help of manas, bhutas, and the pranas. All right, so every 32 minutes, the sun releases a sound, right? That sound vibration being the AUM. And in that sound, that creative sound is a wave of pranic energy. And that energy is used by all the planets, conditioned by all the planets, and then radiated back outwards, and is used to keep the realms formulate and keep the realms in existence. Or in other words, as Carl Sagan once said, we are solidified sunlight. And that's what this is referring to. The mighty sun releases a subtle creative sonic vibration every 32 minutes, pushing from itself and through itself unlimited amounts of creative substance that gives life and substance to life. This mighty cosmic entity is a huge compaction point of vital energy sources for the solar system. The sun is the first Mahabindu for man, and the first Mahabindu for man. The second is the moon, and the third is the earth. The sun gives life and sustains life. The moon manipulates the vast amounts of Shakti powers wrapped in tattvic matter, which builds the subtle and physical realms of existence for man to gain valuable experience through evolution. The Mahabhutas, the tattvic rays, and the five major pranas are deposited into the chakra system and distributed into the auric structure in order to build the subtle, mental, and pranic bodies of men. There are five major pranas within a specific pattern and flow. It assists in the manifestation, it meaning the five major prana flows, assists in the manifestation of all life through the introduction of consciousness by a configuration of cross sections of energy patterns. Therefore, it is the power source of all life. How do I get this PDF? Brittany, in the description for the videos, there should be a link to our Google Drive shared folder where all of our handouts are located. Now, this particular handout is not in that folder yet because I didn't upload it. But these handouts are located in our MeetUp shared files section, which is pretty difficult to navigate and get access to. So I'm pulling those files out, cleaning them up a bit, and then uploading them to the shared folder. So this file is not in the Google Drive folder yet, but will be there shortly after I've made some edits.
I think this one is even on Facebook.
This whole, yeah, this is pretty old.
Yeah.
This is from 2012. But all of this might be on Facebook. I know there's images there, but I don't know there's PDF files there.
Just that particular one that you was looking at.
Oh, okay. All right, so the last paragraph here, and then we'll go into the diagram. The illustration, sorry. The chakra petals embedded in the auric structure and holds the sonic configuration patterns that creates the cross-section of energy patterns that produces various levels of consciousness, allowing man to gain experience on various realms of existence. So the petals he's referring to is not illustrated in this particular diagram, but we will get to that shortly. And so here, these illustrations are depicting what we just discussed in the text. So you have the Shakti pranas, the Mahabhutas, and the universal mind from the galaxy being radiated to the sun. The sun then, the mighty sun then modifies that energy into a modified Shakti, Mahabhutas, and universal mind, and modifies and conditions it and sends it out and propagates it throughout the solar system, right? So that the beings that populate that system and the planets can use that energy. The planets then in turn take that energy, modify it again, and propagate it out in a similar fashion to our other planets in the solar system, and also to the light streams that inhabit each planet. And yes, most, if not all, of the planets within our solar system are inhabited by light streams, most of which are on the higher realms of existence. So you have the 360 topic rays and the Mahabhutas and the 5 major pranas being pushed out from the sun and to the earth. Now, what this blue circle surrounding the earth is akasa. So that's gives the blue, we see that in the sky. To the earth, Mahabindu. The golden circle is also the solar energy coming from the sun that also blankets the earth, as well as tattvic energy comes from the sun to the moon. The moon in turn as well modifies it, as we talked about earlier, and pushes it out as well to the earth. I see Akasa here, the first Mahabhutas. Sorry. And then we look here and you see the respective Mahabindu and the layers and tattvas and realms that are affected by the energy which is conditioned by and through it. So to the moon, or the lunar group, the 64 tattvas, manas to the Christ chakra, 74 tattvas, the energy is kasa, udana. So you have the cosmic, and then you have the prana, and then to the throat chakra. And then we go to the solar group, 54 tattvas, so the vayu, and the prana, the heart chakra. Another 52 tattvas, tijas, so samana, the prana, the solar plexus chakra. And then we go to the terra or terrestrial group. Actually, there's a different name for that, but I can't recall right now. 62 tattvas, the apas, dhyana prana, the sex chakra. And then 62 tattvas, and then 56 tattvas for the bhutas, the apana, the base of the spine chakra. So we'll go into a bit more detail here. Of the 7 major realms of existence and the subtler tattvic matter that's radiating from the sun. If I'm going too fast, feel free to let me know and I'll slow it down a bit. Or if you have any questions, feel free to ask them and we'll try and get those answered for you. So on the left-hand side, we'll start with the crown chakra and moving on down to the Christ chakra, or the tapo loka. And then so we mentioned earlier the petals, I think about 2 pages ago. And so here we have more information on the petals and how they correspond to the chakras. In total, we have 50 chakra petals or seed mantras, which are the seeds of consciousness. And at the Christ, we have 2 petals. Again, the quality of the modes of motion is the manas at the Christ. And then those other 360 tattvic rays are sonic modes of motion, 64 tattvic rays at the Christ. And we're at the Luna Mahabindu group, which also composes the throat chakra, the Nana Loka. And there we have 16 petals of seed mantras. And if you remember, when we looked at the chakra yantras, the mandalas, we discussed the anatomy of the chakras, each of the petals. We looked at the seed mantras, and we also looked at the bindus. So that was covered, I want to say maybe 2 months ago, a month or two ago. But those handouts are in the shared drive folder, so you can take a look at that to give you even greater insight into the anatomy or the structure of the operations of the chakras. So those 16 petal seed matches at the throat chakra, we have the Udana flow, the major prana, the throat. The quality of the mode of motion is akasa utas, and that is sound and space. And we have 72 topic rays, which completes the Luna Mahabindu group. Then we move into the sun or solar Mahabindu. We have the heart chakra, Maharaloka, 12 petals in the seed mantras. Its flow is prana, and the vaya bhutas or air motion is that mode of motion. It's composed of 54 tattvic rays. And the solar plexus, or the swa loka, it has 10 petals of seed mantras. It carries a samana flow, and the mode of motion is tijas bhutas, or light mode. It has 52 tattvic rays. Then we move into the earth Mahabindu with the final two centers, the sex chakra, the Bhuvar Loka, containing 6 petals. Its flow is Vyana of the Apanas Bhutas liquid mode of motion, and 62 tattvic rays. And finally, the base of the spine chakra, Bhuh Loka, with the final 4 petals, for a total of 50 petals, seed mantras, has the Apana flow, the Prithivi Bhutas, or the gross mode of motion, and the last 56 tattvic rays are contained therein. The mighty sun releases a creative word or the subtle creative sonic vibrations every 32 minutes. This carries with it the tattvic matter or rays substance of the sun. There are 360 tattvic rays, which are modes of rhythms and motions within the radiating rays of the sun. Among the massive wave of tattvic rays is the cosmic Mahabhutas, which are the signature vibrations of all manifestation. It is the modes of motion that vibrate subtle substance to its manifested characteristic states of operation. There is also a cosmic power of the universe being radiated through and from the mighty sun, which is prana. There are 5 major pranas with a specific pattern and flow. Those specific patterns and flow assist in the manifestation of all life through the introduction of consciousness by a configuration of cross sections of energy patterns. Therefore, it is the power source of all life. The chakra petals embedded in the auric structure and hold the sonic configuration patterns that creates the cross sections of energy patterns which produce various levels of consciousness, allowing man to gain experience on the various realms of existence. Okay. And the practice of pranayama is the action of increasing the flow of prana of all the 5 pranas throughout that cross-sectional energy pattern or the nadis in the aura, as well as helping to unclog the nadis and therefore allowing an even greater flow of energy through the nadi, or kundalini through the nadis as well, which, as we looked at before in the karmic framework handout, serves our benefits in allowing a better operation of the sensory faculties and spiritual development. So it's all intertwined. See if we have any questions. Any questions so far? Or is anything, any comments? No? Okay. Let's continue onward to the next page, and where we look at the embodied consciousness of man. Also, if you're reaching your saturation point and starting to feel overwhelmed, please do let me know. Otherwise, I'll just keep going. And I'll probably stop in another.
Dwayne, go back to the other page and point something out.
Yes.
It's another way to look at the atomic rays. If you can see a pattern in them. You can hear me all right?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, so another way to do it is looking at, if you look at the base chakra, right? You can see that it has 56 atomic rays. Just looking at numerology, can you hear me?
Yes, the base chakra has 56 atomic rays. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you look at numerology, the number 5 stands for change,
Mm-hmm.
and 6 stands for harmony.
Right. Equals 11.
So we know that that's the first stage of self-consciousness. So this is, it's interesting to see that. Then we get to the seat of consciousness, which is 62 atomic rays. You have the harmony, and then you have the balance of the two flows of energy. You see what I'm talking about?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then you go to the next one, and you have the 5 again, which is change, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is the solar energy, because everything is transformed there. You have a transformation there. And then you have the 2 energies. But then you go to the heart chakra, you have change again, because there's a energy. That's the center of transformation too. But now you have a balance of 4 aspects to the 2. You see what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. So it's a harmony and a balancing.
It's just like having the 4 chambers of the heart. Yeah, it's just like you have the 4 chambers of the heart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And but you have the Ida and the Pingala, but you have the positive part of Ida, the negative part of Ida, the positive part of Pingala, and the negative part of Pingala. So, and then you go to the next one, which is the 72.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where mental thoughts is translated into voice. And we know that 7 stands for the inner power of something. And you go back to the 2 polarities of Ida and Pingala, and you use the 7 in order to draw them into voice or into embodied consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And then you fall back to the 6, the harmony, and then the 4 balance, uh, the male and female part of the energies. So it's just another way of looking at how advanced this ancient knowledge is, and how it's consistent. It's very consistent when you intertwine them with with all the yoga science. I just wanted to make comment on that.
So the number of rays is not just arbitrarily assigned. There's a purpose and an intelligence behind the number of rays, the types of rays, everything, and throughout all of creation, there's an intelligence behind it.
Right.
And as you look,
The Diva Kingdom is using all the energies. Anytime you see something that look like magic or science, there's a utilization of many different technologies and knowledge in order to make those things work. And we can see that in our own life. You know, this internet, we're using multiple science, mathematics, you know, the atmosphere, the magnetic electronic spectrum, all different type of metals that's used to transmit the information through this thing we call the computer or smartphone. So it's the same thing with Tantra. Tantra looms the yoga sciences together in order to bring about a quick and constant and steady resort. That's what Tantra is all about. It's understanding those subtle energies of mind energy and vital energy in order to sensitize the body and auric structure in order to utilize this subtle energy.
So are there any questions on that? Let's see. All right. If there are no questions, we proceed onward. So here we have more information on the embodied consciousness, as well as depicted the levels of consciousness on the left-hand side of the diagram. Let's start on the right-hand side with the Christ chakra. The Christ chakra connects the nodic lines of force to the outside world through the sensory perception instruments of expression, which are the eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and touch. In the involution stage, it is the chakra that is responsible for the final stage of Maya Shakti expression. Okay. And from there, we move into the higher human levels of consciousness. The throat chakra is where the para sound of Kundalini makes its final modification into a fourth aspect power that allows thought to be turned into physical, gross, audible sound as expressed consciousness that's embodied into a physical body. So that's just what Nehemiah was just talking about earlier. with those 7 and 2 tattvic rays here at the throat, or the purification of chakra, the purification of consciousness, as the handout says here. Move to the heart, the Anahata chakra. The heart chakra is where the third modification of the sound vibration extending itself from the Kundalini power lodges at the base of the chakra, curled in a 3.5 knot as it sings the celestial songs of the universe called mantra. While in this dormant state of consciousness, at the heart chakra level, a meaning is impregnated in the energy patterns, subtle and gross vehicles of the conscious expression. Let me zoom in a bit. Okay, that should be easier for everyone to see, hopefully. So now from there, from the heart center gives meaning and preservation of consciousness. Next, we move into the human levels of consciousness, and that level encompasses the 3 lower centers. First, we'll look at the Manipura chakra, the solar plexus chakra. At this chakra, the superconscious mind instructs the subconscious mind to intake the pranas and tattvic matter of the sun to manifest and sustain life. All right, as mentioned earlier, that's the 52 tattvic rays. Of the 5 and the 2. Transformation and harmony, balance. Then we move to the Svadhisthana chakra, or the sex chakra, the seat of self-consciousness. The sex chakra is the first vortex center reached by the divided Shakti power after achieving self-consciousness. This becomes the first residing place of the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Hence why it is referred to here as the seat of self-consciousness. And then finally, we move to the Muladhara chakra, the start of self-consciousness. It is at this chakra point where the soul molds and shapes the cosmic Shakti power that brings about basic self-conscious awareness, which becomes a limited vehicle of consciousness for the soul to operate from and through, as it pervades the whole nadic auric structure and physical nervous system for many cycles of reincarnation. So with that, we have the human levels of consciousness, or the basic levels of consciousness, at the Muladhara, Svadhisthana, and Manipura chakra. And we move up through, not depicted here, but it's here. Granting not is here, and then here, and then, sorry. Move up to the higher human levels of consciousness, the Anahata chakra, the heart chakra, and the Vishuddha chakra. And then we move to the above levels of consciousness, the Ajna chakra, the Christ center, and the Sahasrara chakra, crown center. And then above that, the dissolution of consciousness, we have the original state of the soul. Let's move to the next page. And I think we'll stop here. This is a good, after this page, we'll finish today's session after this page. Let's take a look at the Muladhara chakra, the base of the spine chakra. The first major chakra along the spinal column. So we have here, as I was talking about earlier, the yantra, the mandala. What's the proper term? Is this a yantra or mandala? This is a yantra, right? Anyway, that's the proper term for it. I'll look it up.
Yeah, it's a yantra.
Yantra, okay. So number one, depicting Sushumna, which is these black lines coming down, engaging the inverted triangle, or 4. And within that inverted triangle is the representation of the 3.5 knot, number 8. The petals along these 4 petals here, number 2 is the bija or seed mantras. Number 3 is representing the major chakra bija. Number 5 is the 7-trunked elephant. And we'll go into more description about it as I go down. I'm just going through the diagram here. 6 is the 8 spears. This one around these 8 spears. 9, the yellow square, and 10, representing the presiding or residing diva. Okay. So let's go into it. Number 1, Sushumna is the primary line of force found in the center of the spine, moving down from the head region, the crown and Christ chakra. It is also the passageway back to the highest level of consciousness. Sushumna has 3 inner layers within it, which are 3 layers within, and the inner layer is the Brahmanadi, where the power of Ida and Pingala combine and travels in one direction. It is a pure flowing state of Shakti power. In the Muladhara chakra, the Kundalini forms from the Shakti power by the soul blocking the door to Sushumna. Number 2, the Muladhara chakra has 4 chakra petals, or bijas, called seed mantras, which are bits of sound vibrations that carries the consciousness of the soul and helps to calibrate the mind and vital energy flow and vital energies flowing through the nadis, leaving the chakras via the petals. In the development of consciousness, the chakra petals are used as meditation tools to awaken the power of Kundalini. Number 3, each chakra has a major bija that originates from the bindu, a point of consciousness, or the spiritual germ of the chakra. Which is the flow or essence within the chakra itself. It is the point of all knowledge space. It is the point where the soul is fed by the spirit, that divine spark of God. 4, the inverted triangle is a symbol of Shakti or creative energies. This symbolizes the downward flow and inhibited power of Shakti in a dormant state of Kundalini within the Muladhara chakra. Number 5, the 7-trunked elephant represents the creative mind substance that makes up the 7 bodily tissues, or sapta dhatus, which are highly concentrated aspects of prana designed to build the astrophysical and gross physical bodies of man. These subtle pranic or auric tissues are called the dhatus, which are the following: rasa dhatu, plasma; rakta dhatu, blood cells; mams dhatu, muscle tissues; meda dhatu, fatty tissues; 5, ashti dhatu, bones; maja dhatus, bone marrow and nervous tissues; and sukra dhatu, reproductive tissues; and the concentrated power of ojas that acts as the primary essence for the dhatus. And please forgive my horrible Sanskrit pronunciation. 6. The 8 spheres surrounding the earth element represents the earth kula family, the golden region where the devic forces that manipulate the subtle energy flow, which moves forward as the vehicle of consciousness to build the astrophysical and gross physical bodies. Number 7. In the Muladhara chakra, the elephant symbolizes and represents that there is a great dormant power of Kundalini present, resting in a complete, stable state. Number 8. In this image, we find the symbol that represents the 3.5 knot, 3.5 configuration, which is the dormant state of Kundalini. It is the Shakti being pushed down through Sushumna into the Muladhara chakra's pressures that allow the soul to twist the Shakti power into the dormant state of Kundalini, where the Shakti power reveals the Shiva power as it slips into its sleep state or dormant state of power. And finally, number 9, we have the yellow square within the chakra represents the earth element, the great Mahabindu, the Mother Earth, radiating the modified Shakti powers of the mighty sun, the galaxy, and universe to all life on this realm of existence. It is the pericarp. In the pericarp is a yellow square, a symbol of the earth element surrounded by 8 golden spheres, 4 at each corner and 4 at the cardinal points. Okay. And that will do it for today's open discussion. Next week, we will continue onward and look at the mystic knowledge behind pranayama, the 7 upper and lower chakras. We'll take a look at the energy centers of the hand and finish up with an analysis of Siddhasana Mudra. Okay, do we have any final questions before we close out today's session or comments? The question here, who created the sun and moon?
Well, that's a whole nother class.
Yeah, it's a whole, yeah,
We
it's a
can,
whole.
we can start off saying that the absolute, the God, but in our previous classes, I think I gave a class, what did I call it? The creation.
The signatures of creation, was it?
I forget what I called it. The what?
The signatures of creation, something like that?
Something like I gave a class. I gave several classes on this to talk about the absolute, the lords of creation, the supreme lords of creation, the lesser lords of creation, the galactic lords of creation, and then you have the lesser lords of creation, which is the sun, the planets. But all of this is done. All this is described in the ancient teachings, and then you had different masters come and adepts come, and they gave further commentaries on it, which in ancient teachings they call the Upanishads. The Upanishads are nothing but commentaries from either a master or adept on that subject. And so the sun itself is a living, breathing entity, and it's a god to us. We can look at the sun as a god. So the same way the galaxy is actually Jehovah, what they described in the book. And Paul in the Holy Bible, Paul described Jehovah as we live and move and have our being within him, and that was he was describing the Milky Way galaxy, which is Jehovah. So, and then even the ancient African tribes or communities, what they did when their baby was born, they took the baby up and they raised the child to the sky and said, "Behold, the only thing greater than yourself," and that was Jehovah, which was the galaxy. So, this is seen in many rituals throughout many cultures, that they recognize this. It's only in modern time that we move away from those things. But go back to our old videos and we go into, I think we do several classes on that.
Any more questions or comments?
I just want to say thanks. Thanks for the time and dedication with these studies. Much appreciation.
Thank you for joining us.
So with that, let us close out. Referring back to previous videos is helpful. Yes. please do review those classes. I know it may seem like a lot of material to cover, but it is helpful. So you can sit through those and watch them at your leisure. You don't have to watch them in sequence, like from the very first to the most recent. They are organized in playlists, and the playlists are series or lecture series. So you can go and look at a particular topic you're more interested in. And be sure to take notes and any questions you may have from those videos. Feel free to ask them in these open discussion sessions we're having now. Also, some of the videos are private, and if you would like access to those videos, you could send us an email, but be sure to list the specific video or videos that you would like access to. Don't just send us a blanket email, I want access to all the videos. No, that's not gonna work. Just send us specifically which videos you want access to, and then we will determine whether or not to grant you access to those videos. Okay? So let's close out with the New Lord's Prayer.
We let Dr. King close us out. This was some heavy information given out today.
Yeah. All right, so give me a second. Let me cue that up. The transmission. Do you want to introduce it while I find it anyway?
You don't have it on hand?
Yeah, I do. I was just saying, just if you wanted to.
Yeah, this is the somatic transmission coming through Dr. George King by the Master Jesus. It's the New Lord's Prayer.
All right, now which track? This one? Okay, so all right, I have it queued up here. Let me actually put the prayer on. Okay, so here is the New Lord's Prayer. Am I muted? Okay, no. So here's the New Lord's Prayer. I'm going to play the recording of the original transmission. Let me share computer sound, resume share, and here is the New Lord's Prayer. Hopefully everybody can see that.
O divine and wondrous Spirit, O everlasting Lord of hosts, send forth now through me thy great and lasting power. Allow me, Almighty God, the lasting privilege of radiating to all the world thy great love, so that those who suffer may be given the power and energy to rise above their weaknesses. Almighty God, in great humility do I ask you to send forth your power to give to me this great lasting privilege of being a channel, so that my suffering brothers may be helped and guided and healed and lifted into thy light. So that they who know not may look up, and in doing so receive through their higher selves your divine counsel. Almighty God, this day have you granted me a divine privilege. I ask you now to give to me the strength so that never again will I turn from my inner vision of you. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. In praise of your greatness, O God, doth my soul sing. Grant it energy to sing on forever and forever.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for your kind attendance and engagement. Have a wonderful week, and we look forward to studying with you again next time. Take care.
Thank you.